So, thank you for the opportunity to ask my favorite question to my favorite astrologer. So, my question is, what is love? Love has been the most elusive goal for mankind. Almost everyone yearns for love. Yet, we know very little about love. I'm intrigued. Why is love so hard to find? Are some people destined to find love and some not? Do some people have a higher capacity to feel and find love? Or can this capacity be nurtured with some actions or deeds? Is there a timing that can be determined for when loving capacity will blossom in a person's lifetime? How can we know from the charts if two people will fall in love with each other? Thank you for all the answers. I look forward to your video. With much gratitude, Stuti. Namaste.
I'll take your questions one by one. Let's do them one by one. And let's first look at the main question there. What is love? The word love is confusing because we use it to refer to two things which are different. These two different things in Sanskrit are called raga and priti. Raga or rati is a very strong attachment to something, a very strong desire for something. That's one of the things that we mean when we say love. The other thing that we mean is priti, which is also called prema. This includes rati. It includes a strong attachment and desire, but it goes far beyond it into some other realm, which is very mysterious. Rati is just the outer form of love. It's the shape of love. It's the way love looks. You can find rati everywhere. It's easy to find rati. I love cookies. I love chocolate. I love bowling. And I love you. Oh, thanks, I think. So I'm just like cookies, chocolate, and bowling. However, prema, the other sense of the word love is prema. This one is real love. It's not just the outer shape of love. Of course, it has the outer shape of love, but it also has the heart of love, the true core of love. This one you don't find anywhere. Rati you find everywhere, prema you find nowhere. This one, prema, is the most precious thing. It's the rarest treasure in the entire universe. It's called the fifth goal of life, Panchma Purushartha. Prema Pumarto Mahan. It's the greatest of all the goals of life. It's the goal of life that you can pursue after you've had enlightenment, moksha. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. You can only begin to taste this bhakti, this prema, after you've achieved Brahma Bhuta, moksha, enlightenment. So one of these forms of love is very, very common and easy, and everybody knows it every day. The other form of love is very, very precious and rare to the point of extinction. Yet we use the same word to describe them both, and that gets very, very confusing because this tricks our mind into thinking that one is the other. Now I'd like to talk about the relationship between love and consciousness. The Vedas declare that consciousness is the true form of reality. Consciousness is the root of reality. In other words, there's no possibility of reality, something which can be experienced, unless there is an experiencer, consciousness. So consciousness is the basis and substrate and foundation of reality. What the Vedas say is that consciousness has kama. It has rati. It has a thirst inherent in it. What is that lust? What is that thirst? Well, the experiencer inherently desires experience. This creates something called beauty. Beauty is the word that we use to describe the thing that attracts our thirst for experience. Something is beautiful because we want to experience it. Happiness is also intrinsically related to beauty and love. Happiness is the word we use to describe the feeling that results from experiencing beauty. And love, which is also inseparable from beauty and happiness, is A, what we feel for the object of beauty, That is the sense of love as raga or rati. And B is prema. It is the very means of experiencing the object of beauty. So the two conceptions of love, rati and prema, express two different understandings of how we'll interact with the beauty. The rati attitude can be described in English as lust, maybe, although it's not necessarily always erotic. The lust attitude, the rati attitude is, there's an object of beauty. I want to consume it. If I can consume it and make it a part of me, it will nourish me, it will make me happy. The prema attitude, the love attitude, the loving attitude is, there's the object of beauty. If I could serve it, if I could enhance it, I will make it happy, and that will make me happy. Love contains lust, but lust doesn't contain love. So, in the concept of prema, there's the object of beauty. I will make that object happy. That's how I will be happy. So it includes a strong attachment to the object, and it includes your own happiness. But it's secondary. Rati is secondary. And the primary thing is the devotion, the love. I want to make that object happy. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma vinavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti uttama. This is Rupa Goswami's definition of love. He says that it's anukulya, anushila. It's an expression of affection for the object of devotion. So real love is an expression of affection for the object, not for oneself. But incidentally, one nourishes oneself by that expression. So don't forget this ever. Self-love is included in true love. You don't have to separately pursue self-love. If you separately pursue self-love, you'll never experience true love. Now, I'd also like to talk a little bit about the relationship between consciousness, perception, and unification, because unification is the key concept of love. That's why when people are in love, they hold hands, they hug, they kiss, they embrace, they make love. Those are all physical expressions of how love unifies. Hearts, consciousness, love unifies the object and the subject. So consciousness wants perception. That's the inherent thing that consciousness wants, because it's the perceiver, therefore it wants perception. It's the experiencer, so it wants to experience. Distance, however, distance between the object and the subject decreases the clarity of the perception. And it's not just physical distance that we're talking about, but all sorts of distance, difference, disconnect. The more that increases, the more your perception decreases, and therefore the less happy your consciousness you are. Because distance decreases perception, consciousness therefore wants unity. Consciousness hungers for unification, unity. So that's why you hear always from Indian philosophers, become one, be one, and all this stuff. But the truth of the matter is that love is the way to become one. That's why one of the most important words for love in Sanskrit is bhakti. And bhakti is a form of the root word bhaj. And bhaj means to share, to come together, to be together. So since love is the force which unites the subject and the object, it affords the most direct experience of the object of beauty. That's why love is the supreme way to experience the object of beauty. Now let's go back to your next question.
I'm intrigued. Why is love so hard to find?
Okay, why is love so hard to find? Well, it depends on what type of love you're talking about. Rati, which is lust or attachment, can be found everywhere. It's actually hard not to find it. You find it everywhere. You find it when you look at cookies, ice cream, a handsome man, a beautiful woman, money, shoes, everything. So you find rati everywhere. But prema, which is the actual core of love, you find nowhere. This is what's hard to find. Prema is hard to find. Why? Because first you need to have moksha. You need to be enlightened before you can experience prema, love. Enlightenment means you understand who you really are. Not just who, but what you really are. If you don't understand who and what we really are, we cannot understand our relationship to the world and to other people. And if we have a misunderstanding of how we actually relate with other people, we won't be able to experience anything except rati for them. I need them. So until we have moksha or enlightenment, we can't find prema. You won't find it anywhere. That's why love is so hard to find. And now let's look at another one of your questions.
Are some people destined to find love and some not?
That's a good question. Again, it depends on what kind of love we're talking about. If we're talking about prema, prema is entirely outside the laws of destiny. Prema is 100% free will. Love, true love, is 100% free will. It's the giving of yourself to be merged with another. And that is done by your volition. Love is volition. So prema is no destiny. Prema is up to you. You may go through billions of lifetimes and not find it, or you can find it right now. It's totally outside cause and effect. But it depends upon you getting jnana, knowledge about who you truly are. So you have to cultivate that to begin. The other kind of love, rati, is entirely within the laws of destiny. And yes, some of us are destined to find rati more healthfully, more easily, more productively than others. But why should you cry about that? Oh, my next door neighbor has so much better karma for rati than I do. Oh, look at that wife that my next door neighbor has in this car. Wow, look at all those beautiful kids. I'm so sad. Why should you cry about somebody else has better rati than I do? Spiders have rati. Cockroaches have rati. Don't worry about rati. Rati is everywhere. You'll get it. Worry about prema. Okay, now let's have another question.
Do some people have a higher capacity to feel and find love? Or can this capacity be nurtured with some actions or deeds?
So, again, let's split it into rati and prema. Prema, can you increase the capacity for prema? Yes. You begin to increase your capacity for prema by getting jnana, which means accurate knowledge about who you are. So you increase your capacity for prema by decreasing your self-concept that I am somebody that's divorced and separate from everybody else. So my own separate interests are very, very important. The more you diminish that fallacious self-concept, the more you increase your chances. Now, the more that you understand theoretically who and what you really are, an integrated part of the whole, then the more you can mimic acts of love. And mimicking acts of love is also very good. It's a good practice. It's called sadhana bhakti, to mimic acts of love. So the more you mimic loving behavior, the more you will get hints about what it actually feels like, tastes like. And then that kind of like dries out the firewood of your heart and gives a better chance for a spark to ignite it. So the more you practice, the more you realize who you truly are in relation to the whole of reality, and the more you mimic acts of love towards the rest of the world, the better your chances of prema actually coming into your heart and igniting it. And now as far as rati goes, how will you increase your capacity for rati? That's much easier and much more mechanical. You should go to the gym. You should eat good food. Those will increase your capacity for rati. But what's the big deal? You could also be born as a peacock and get a great capacity for rati. So don't care too much about rati. Think more about prema.